Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're taking a close look today at a story that, well, it really burrowed its way into the cultural consciousness. A foundational text, you could say, on modern tragic romance.
And our job is to unpack it, really get into the insights, the emotional stakes, the social mechanics that make it tick.
Exactly. And this story, it grabs you from the absolute first sentence. It doesn't ease you in.
No, it really doesn't. It starts right at the end, doesn't it? That opening line is just devastating. What can you say about a 25-year-old girl who died? It just hangs there.
It really does. Sets this irreversible tragic tone. You know immediately where it's going, so all the suspense is gone.
Right. It forces you, the reader, to focus completely on the how and the why. How did they get here? Why did this happen?
So our mission today is to really dig into that journey. We're looking at Oliver Barrett IV, the wealthy Harvard jock, classic blue blood type.
The epitome of privilege.
And Jennifer Cavilleri.
Jenny.
Who's sharp, witty, working class, a Radcliffe music major. Totally different worlds.
Absolutely polar opposites on the surface. So we're exploring their improbable relationship, obviously, but also the huge cultural barriers they slammed into.
And maybe most importantly, the deep, deep family conflicts. How those conflicts really fuel their whole life together. And, well, apart too.
It's almost like a class war playing out within this one intense romance. And before Jenny even properly enters the picture, the source gives us this crucial glimpse into Oliver's head, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sets up why this relationship becomes such a seismic event for him personally.
It's that bit where he reflects on a list Jenny made, things she loved. Mozart, Bach, the Beatles, and him.
And the kicker is how she listed them.
Alphabetically.
Right.
But Oliver being Oliver.
He can't just accept that, can he? He immediately starts calculating. Okay, is Barrett after Bach? Does Oliver trail Mozart? He's obsessed with the order.
Even in this, sweet romantic memory, his competitiveness kicks in. He has to know his rank. He admits it bothers him, having grown up with the notion that I always had to be number one.
And then that killer phrase, family heritage, don't you know?
That says it all, really. It's not just personal ambition. It's this inherited weight, this obligation to be number one. It's baked into his identity, whether he likes it or not.
It explains so much about why he is the way he is. Always fighting something, even if it's just his own shadow, or his father's shadow, maybe.
And there's that other little clue later on, you remember, when he's talking about his father, Oliver Barrett III. OB the third.
Oh, yeah, the rowing thing.
Right. His father rowed single sculls in the 28 Olympics. And Oliver IV notes almost smugly that he takes some comfort that his dad only finished sixth.
It's incredible, isn't it? Even his father's past achievements are measured by their perceived failure. Sixth isn't good enough. It's like, Dad wasn't number one either.
Exactly. It shows the generational pressure cooker he grew up in. Excellence isn't enough. You have to beat the previous generation. You have to be number one.
So his whole life is basically a reaction against this pressure, which makes Jenny, well, she's the ultimate curveball, isn't she?
Completely. She exists entirely outside that Barrett system of achievement and expectation. Choosing her, loving her, it's inherently an act of rebellion for him.
Okay, so that drive, that privilege, it gets challenged almost immediately, doesn't it? Let's dive into that first meeting, the Radcliffe Library.
Oh, it's classic. Oliver, the entitled Harvard guy, just assumes he can walk in and get what he wants. He needs the waning of the Middle Ages for some course.
And he runs straight into Jenny Cavilleri at the reserve desk.
And it's not a meet cute, not even close. It's more like an ambush. She doesn't just question him being there. She calls out the whole system Harvard guys using Radcliffe resources.
Right. And when he tries to justify himself, she just cuts him down. That line, it's legendary.
You look stupid and rich. Just brutal and completely accurate from her perspective.
And he tries that weak defense. I'm actually smart and poor.
Which is just laughable coming from a Barrett. And Jenny sees right through it. Bang. Oh, no, preppy. I'm smart and poor.
She owns it. He's just borrowing the identity for convenience.
Yeah.
She lives it.
It's this fascinating little skirmish, right? Using socioeconomic status as weapons. She's challenging his whole identity, the structure that lets him pretend to be poor when it suits him.
And she flips his attempt to leave back on him. The whole stupid test.
Yeah, he tries to say, look, I wouldn't ask you for coffee, trying to regain control. And she goes, that is what makes you stupid.
Checkmate. She forces him to engage just to prove he's not stupid. He has to agree to coffee to get his book.
He gets the book, yeah, but she totally won that round. She dragged him out of his comfort zone, forced him onto her turf, metaphorically speaking.
So they go for coffee, the midget restaurant. And this is where they start, laying their cards on the table a bit more.
Jenny identifies herself. Jennifer Cavilleri, American of Italian descent, music major. And crucially, taking graduate-level stuff, Renaissance polyphony.
That detail matters, doesn't it? It's not just music, it's serious, academic.
Exactly. It establishes her intellect, her passion. She's not doing it for status or money. She loves it. It's an internal drive, which is kind of fundamentally alien to the Barrett world of external validation.
Meanwhile, Oliver's trying to downplay his name. No, not Barrett the poet, dreading the inevitable Barrett like the Hall question.
He has to admit it. Barrett Hall. That colossal monument, as he calls it, to my family's money, vanity, and flagrant Harvardism.
Flagrant Harvardism. What a great phrase. It captures that whole oppressive weight of legacy, right? He's literally defined by a building.
While she's defined by something intricate, historical, something she chose to study, the contrast is stark. She's substance. He's fighting against the symbols of his family.
So after all that sparring, Oliver asks her basically, why'd you even agree to this coffee if you think I'm such a loser?
And her answer just cuts through everything. All the class stuff, the academic one-upmanship. Simple, direct.
I like your body.
Boom, just like that. It strips away all the intellectual armor, all the inherited baggage. It's pure, immediate physical attraction. Raw honesty.
Which is maybe exactly what he needed, even if he didn't know it. Something not based on his name or his status.
Yeah, it's the first crack in his defenses, maybe. Okay, so from the coffee shop, the verbal sparring, we shift gears pretty quick to Oliver's world.
The hockey rink. He invites her to the Dartmouth game. Doesn't tell her he's playing at first, right?
Classic Oliver move.
Yeah.
Number 7, all Ivy first team. This is his domain, where his noblesse oblige roughness comes out.
That phrase again, roughness. And the source describes his style in fights.
Oh, yeah. Lash mightily at anything wearing enemy colors. It's not just a game. It's like sanctioned violence, a way for him to vent all that pressure, maybe.
And he gets that penalty. 2 minutes for holding, which really means fighting. He knows the crowd expects him to argue, but he doesn't.
But Jenny's there in the penalty box with him, and she doesn't care about the crowd or the game etiquette. She asks him straight up.
Are you a dirty player?
Right into it. She sees past the performance. She wants to know about the aggression itself. He gets defensive, tries to explain, I tried too hard.
She doesn't let up, though, does she? Keeps pushing him. Would you ever total me? She asks.
It's fascinating. She's matching his physical aggression on the ice with her own kind of verbal aggression. That conversation in the box, it's like their whole relationship in miniature. Confrontation is communication for them.
But then something shifts in her, doesn't it? She goes from observer to participant.
Totally. He goes back on the ice, gets checked hard, embarrassed, Barrett dumped, and suddenly he hears her.
That shrill scream, "Go, Oliver, go! Knock their heads off!"
Yes. That's the moment. She gets it. She understands the emotional stakes for him, this violence, this intensity. It's his way of being, number one, his acceptable outlet, and she dives right in.
She joins his side, validates his world, demands he meet the standard he sets for himself.
And when Harvard wins 7-0, sealed by Oliver slamming some Dartmouth guy, she confirms it. He's the big winner. She bought into his conflict. She validated his intensity.
Okay, so the Dartmouth game is a win, but then comes the Cornell game. And this one's different. This loss throws the spotlight directly onto the real source of Oliver's conflict.
Oliver Barrett III, OB III, Old Stony Face.
Chapter 3. Oliver gets slammed with a 5-minute major penalty for fighting. Apparently started over some nasty racial comment directed at a teammate.
And it costs them big time. They lose the game 6-3, and the Ivy title goes down the drain. Oliver feels it's entirely his fault. Catastrophic failure in his eyes.
And guess who's watching from the stands? Not cheering, just observing.
OB III, described as a walking, sometimes talking Mount Rushmore. Just pure, stoic, probably judging presence.
And the post-game dinner scene is just excruciating. It's a masterclass in passive aggression and emotional distance.
Oh, it's brutal. Oliver's got 12 stitches, right? His eye socket's nearly fractured, and his dad suggests the old-fashioned cure, a steak.
And Oliver, thinking practically, assumes he means put the steak on his eye for the swelling.
But no. OB III delivers the correction with that icy precision. I mean, for your stomach, son. It's designed to make Oliver feel foolish, out of touch.
It's not conversation. It's like rhetorical point scoring. Then Oliver tries to defend the doctor who treated him, saying he wasn't a veterinarian.
And Obi the Third immediately twists it, accuses Oliver of implying he behaved like an animal on the ice. It's constant psychological warfare. Keep the son off balance, remind him of his shortcomings.
And then comes the sermon.
Ugh, the simplistic sermonette, as the text calls it, all about winning versus playing. Basically, minimizing Oliver's effort, his passion for the game, suggesting losing control is worse than losing the title.
It's impossible, isn't it? You can't win with this guy.
Right.
Win, and it's expected. Lose, and you did it wrong. Lose control, and you lack decorum.
There's no path to approval, which is why the conversation shifts so abruptly to law school. It's the next hurdle, the next expectation.
And Oliver's reaction is immediate, almost visceral. No, please don't, sir. Begging his father not to pull strings, not to interfere with his applications.
He's desperate for something to be his, untainted by the Barrett name, the Barrett influence. He wants his acceptance, his success, to be purely on merit.
Which, of course, is a concept Obi III seems incapable of understanding. For him, merit is secondary to heritage. The name is the qualification.
It's such a stark contrast to what happens next, isn't it? The whole Phil situation.
Oh, right, the phone call. Oliver calls Jenny after the Cornell game, completely miserable, and overhears her on the phone saying, "I love you too, Phil."
And Oliver just explodes internally, 48 hours apart, and his mind leaps straight to the worst conclusion. Some bastard named Phil had crawled into bed with Jenny.
His default assumption is betrayal, competition, high drama, because that's the world he lives in with his father.
But the reality is so simple, so normal. Phil is her dad, a baker in Cranston, Rhode Island.
And when Oliver asks Jenny what she calls her father,
she uses the exact word Oliver secretly wants to use for Obi the Third, son of a bitch. But from her, you know it's affectionate, rooted in love, not the deep, corrosive resentment Oliver feels.
Phil is everything Obi III isn't, basically. Warm, hands-on, expressive.
And Oliver tries to explain this chasm to Jenny, tries to articulate why he resents his father so much. It's not just the pressure to achieve, it's being programmed for the Barrett tradition.
It's that feeling of being taken absolutely for granted. The effort, the struggle, none of it is ever acknowledged, just the result or lack thereof.
That's the core of it, I think. Not the high standards themselves, but the complete lack of recognition for the human cost of trying to meet them. The goalposts just keep moving.
And this is where you really see the cultural gap between Oliver and Jenny, isn't it? She struggles to get it.
Yeah, she comes from that atavistic Italian-Mediterranean notion of Papa loves bambinos. For her, the fact that Obi the Third drove all the way to Ithaca just to watch him play, that's proof of love.
But for Oliver, it's just fulfilling an obligation.
Yeah.
Showing up, form over substance, performance.
Jenny tries to kind of soften it for him, doesn't she? Tries to reframe his angst. Thank God you're hung up about your father. That means you're not perfect.
And that right there, her ability to see his flaws, his damage, and accept him anyway, maybe even because of it, that's huge.
Right.
That's the turning point.
It shifts everything. It opens the door from just, verbal tennis to something much deeper, something intimate.
Which brings us to chapter 5, and that shift into physical intimacy.
Yeah.
And Oliver's anxiety about it is really interesting.
Yeah, for a guy who seems so confident, the jock, the Barrett heir, he's suddenly very vulnerable. He's not worried about technique, right? He's worried about rejection, sure, but also being accepted for the wrong reasons.
He senses this is different with Jenny. His usual smooth operator routine, his unstoppable style, it won't cut it here. She demands something more real.
So he has to drop the act. That moment where he literally throws down his book, goes over to her, crouches down.
And just says it, "I'm dying to make love to you." Total vulnerability.
And that's what breaks through. The source says their first time making love was the polar opposite of our first verbal one. It wasn't combative. It was unhurried, so soft, so gentle.
It's like the real Oliver finally meeting the real Jenny, without the armor. He even notices that little gold cross she wears, her mother's.
Yeah, worn for sentimental reasons, not religious. It shows her connection to her roots, but also her independence from dogma. She says she's only 2 out of 3 of a good Catholic girl, right?
Right. So this new intimacy, this connection, it immediately bumps up against the next big obstacle, the real world, class, future plans.
Jenny drops the bombshell. She's accepted a scholarship to study with Nadia Boulanger in Paris.
Wow. Boulanger, huge deal in the music world.
Massive. And this is Jenny being realistic, right? She sees the relationship, intense as it is, as ultimately unsustainable because of the class difference. She thinks the split is inevitable.
She had that great metaphor about Harvard being like Santa's bag.
Yeah, you can stuff all sorts of crazy toys in there, like a rich boy and a poor girl, but when the holiday's over, they shake you out and you got to go back where you belong.
Ouch. She believes the Barrett world will inevitably pull him back. And she can't follow him there, so she's choosing her own path, her music.
Which forces Oliver's hand. His response is pure Oliver Barrett IV. Instant, dramatic, no calculation.
He proposes, just like that. And when she asks why, the reason...
It's perfect in its simplicity. Because that's it. No logic, no 5-year plan. Just because I love you, because we have to be together.
And she gets it. Oh, that's a very good reason. She accepts the emotional truth over the social logic. It's them against the world now.
But the world doesn't just roll over, does it? The very next test is meeting the parents. Sunday dinner at Dover House, the family estate.
And Jenny's reaction tells you everything. She's completely intimidated. Holy shit.
I bet you have serfs living here. You feel her immediate sense of otherness, of being totally out of her depth. She wishes her name was Abigail Adams or Wendy Wasp.
She knows she doesn't fit. And the Barretts confirm that instantly. Obie III in his fancy cashmere sport jacket, Allison Tipsy Barrett, the museum trustee, they're exactly the cold, judging figures Oliver described.
And Oliver stumbles right out of the gate, doesn't he? Introduces her with the wrong last name, Cavilleri.
She corrects him, Cavilleri. But it's a bad start. Shows he hasn't fully integrated her reality into his world yet, maybe.
Maybe. And then comes that excruciatingly awkward conversation about her name, the conversation.
His mother brings up the opera, Cavalleria Rusticana.
Which is, let's be clear, a tragedy about passionate working-class Italians. It's not subtle. She's showing off her cultural knowledge while simultaneously pigeonholing Jenny.
And when Jenny clarifies no relation, trying to assert her individuality...
Both parents just go, like, okay, category confirmed. It's dismissal disguised as understanding. Patronizing doesn't even begin to cover it.
Then Obie III pulls rank. You're staying for dinner. That's an order. Trying to control Oliver through social pressure.
And the dinner itself starts with that horribly public, overly pious grace, asking for blessings in the name of thy son, Jesus Christ. Pure wasp performance art.
Which Oliver just can't stomach. His reaction is pure frustration. Play ball.
Like calling the start of a hockey game. Which, of course, Obie III immediately uses against him. I certainly wish you would play ball now and then, Oliver. Every single word is loaded.
Oliver hits back, right?
Yeah.
Brings up his father's mills, exploiting workers, weaponizing class right back at him, using Jenny's background against Obie III's hypocrisy.
It's ugly. The parents just ignore it, maintain the facade, but the battle lines are clearly drawn. The damage is done.
And the final confrontation, the actual break, happens later at the Harvard Club, of all places. But first, Jenny has a moment of clarity, doesn't she?
Yeah, she confronts Oliver about his motives, says his treatment of his father was disgusting, and then she lands the big one, suggesting he loves her negative social status, primarily as a way to rebel against his father.
Wow. She sees that maybe his love for her is tangled up with his need to escape the Barrett legacy, that choosing her guarantees his father's rejection.
It's a tough insight, and it sets the stage for that final showdown luncheon. Oliver, trapped in the heart of his father's world, the Harvard Club.
Obie III accuses him flat out, this is rebellion. And Oliver forces the issue. What bothers you more, father, that she's Catholic or that she's poor?
His father dodges, asking what attracts Oliver most. It's all deflection, until the ultimatum, delivered almost in a whisper for maximum impact.
Marry her now and I will not give you the time of day. It's total cutoff, financial, emotional, everything. Exile from the Barrett kingdom.
The ultimate threat. Not just poverty, but complete non-existence in his father's eyes.
And Oliver's response is the final word, the nail in the coffin of that relationship.
Father, you don't know the time of day. Just walks out. Done. Broke, maybe, but finally free. Or so he thinks.
That break is so decisive. And it leads directly into the next phase, actually building a life together, starting with meeting her father.
And the contrast couldn't be more dramatic. Oliver's driving to Cranston, Rhode Island, full of anxiety. He's expecting, well, maybe not Obie III level coldness, but maybe the lots of love Italian Mediterranean syndrome, as he puts it. Overprotective dad, maybe suspicious of the rich Harvard kid.
He's worried Phil will grill him about money, about how he'll support Jenny, especially now that he's been cut off.
But it's the complete opposite of Dover House. Phil Cavilleri is just warmth. Genuine joy, a strong handshake. He seems to size Oliver up based on something real.
Like his appreciation for the pastries. Oliver goes on about the Italian pastries he liked, and Phil seems to recognize the sincerity.
And Phil's verdict is just golden. Simple. He's okay. That's it. That acceptance, based on nothing but gut feeling and maybe pastry knowledge, means more than any approval Oliver ever got from his own father.
Phil even tries to intervene, right?
Yeah.
Wants to call Obi the third, believing fathers should connect.
Yeah, bless him. He doesn't understand the Barrett dynamic. Oliver has to shut it down, protect Phil from that toxicity, calls his family line a cold line.
Then they have to navigate the wedding plans, the relative part.
Yeah.
Jenny tells Phil they're kind of negative on a church wedding.
You can feel Phil's disappointment. He assumes Oliver, the WASP, must want a Unitarian thing. But no, Oliver confirms, no God involved.
And Phil, bless him again, has to swallow his traditions. His only real concern becomes practicality. Is it, what's the word, legal?
Legality, that's his baseline. Not status, not ritual, just, is this a real commitment? It's so different from the Barrett focus on appearances.
The wedding itself reflects that. Phil's Brooks house, the Unitarian chaplain officiating, but no religious service. It's a do-it-yourself wedding, defined by their choices, their words.
And the vows they choose are so significant. Jenny picks Elizabeth Barrett Browning, that bit about needing a place to stand and love in for a day with darkness and the death hour rounding it.
Wow. Intense, romantic, but also kind of ominous, isn't it? Acknowledging the fragility, the limited time.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing, maybe?
Definitely feels that way in hindsight. And Oliver chooses Walt Whitman, Song of the Open Road, his big declaration, I give you my love more precious than money. I give you myself before preaching or law.
It's his public rejection of everything his father stands for, wealth, status, tradition. His commitment is solely to her.
And the celebration, perfectly them, not champagne and canapes, beer at Cronin's pub.
And Phil's Coast, saying Oliver is better than all the Clearys put together. It's such a local, grounded compliment. It means Oliver's been accepted into Phil's world, into a real family.
It's a beautiful moment, capped off by Jenny's final line after Oliver says, Jenny, we're legally married.
Yeah, now I can be a bitch.
Perfect Jenny. Cuts the sentimentality, keeps it real, seals their partnership with humor. They can finally relax, be themselves.
But that relaxation is short-lived, because reality bites hard. The next 3 years summed up in one word.
Scrounge. Yeah. The transition from Barrett privilege to broke newlywed life is brutal.
Yeah.
Oliver suddenly has to think about cost.
We really need to sit with this period. It's crucial for Oliver's development, right? Money was invisible before. Now every single choice is a calculation. He even twists that romantic verse from Omar Khayyam.
Right. Instead of a book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread and thou, he's thinking about the price of Scott on Trusts, the textbook, and how much debt they'd rack up for the bread and wine.
Financial pressure just invades everything. It overrides the romance, the idealism.
And their apartment reflects it. Cheap place in Somerville. In the state of disrepair, Jenny calls it, unsafe at any speed. It's a constant reminder of what they don't have.
And it hits Jenny's career too, doesn't it? That awful situation at the Shady Lane School.
Ugh, yeah. The principal, this Miss Whitman, just assumes a Barrett wife wouldn't care about salary, offers her peanuts because, Barretts wouldn't be concerned.
So Jenny's working probably harder than Oliver in some ways, teaching, and then coming home and having to be incredibly frugal. The source mentions her learning every conceivable recipe to make pasta seem like something else.
Think about that. The Italian-American girl teaching the waspy husband how to stretch pennies with pasta dishes. It's a total inversion of stereotypes, driven by pure necessity. She's basically subsidizing his law degree.
And Oliver feels the social isolation too. That bit about the football games.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Skipping the games because $12 for tickets is too much. $12. Think what that meant to him before? Now he's listening on a transistor radio, hearing the crowd roar just a mile away.
Feeling frozen out, cut off from the world that was once entirely his. By choice, yes, but the reality still stings.
But all this pressure, all this scrounging, it does have one positive effect, doesn't it? It focuses Oliver.
Yeah, it channels all that competitive energy, that number one drive, into the one thing that can get them out. Law school. He's not doing it for Dad now. He's doing it for survival, for Jenny.
And he crushes it, finishes third in his class,
Yeah.
makes law review, although even then...
He's still got that hang up.
Yeah.
Ashamed to tell Jenny he wasn't number one. Not quite third.
Old habits die hard. But Jenny's reaction is everything. I owe you everything.
She sees their shared struggle in his success. That's the validation he needs.
And professionally, being third turns out to be an advantage. The irony. He realizes he's the only WASP in the top 10, and he's brutally honest about it. And anyone who says it doesn't matter is full of it.
So he leverages it. He uses the very privilege he rejected, his name, his background, to get ahead. It's a compromise, isn't it?
A big one. He takes the job at Jonas and Marsh, not for prestige, not for public service, but for the money. $11,800, the absolute highest salary in his class.
He beat the system by rejoining it, in a way. He got the independence, but used the tools of the establishment to do it. Just like Jenny predicted, maybe. He'll use whatever it takes.
He's financially secure. He's achieved success on his own terms, mostly. The scrounge years are over.
But just as they reach that stability, the other shoe drops. The unresolved family stuff comes back to haunt them, and then tragedy looms.
It starts with that invitation, doesn't it? Ob Third's 60th birthday party.
And Jenny sees it as an opening, a chance for reconciliation. She pleads with Oliver. She gets the Barrett dynamic, that frozen pride. Your father loves you too, Oliver, but you Barretts are so damn proud and competitive, you'll go through life thinking you hate each other.
She sees the love buried under layers of pride and competition. But Oliver, he's dug in. I will never talk to him, ever. His pride is still winning.
Jenny keeps pushing. Just say hello on the phone. Just acknowledge him. And when he refuses, she finally snaps, calls him a heartless bastard, not shouting, but a whispered fury.
She knows he needs this connection, even if he won't admit it, and her frustration boils over, which leads to her desperate move.
Taking the phone herself, calling Ob III, and telling him the lie Oliver can't speak. Oliver loves you very much. Then hangs up.
And Oliver just loses it completely, rips the phone out of the wall, hurls it, shouting, "God damn you, Jenny, why don't you get the hell out of my life?"
It's a horrifying moment. All his repressed rage, his frustration with his father, his vulnerability, it explodes outwards, directed at the one person who truly loves him. Because she dared to touch that raw nerve.
She leaves, understandably, but comes back, says she forgot her key. Oliver's shaking, trying to stammer out an apology.
And she cuts him off, delivers the line that defines them, their code, everything that's anti-Barrett about their love.
Love means not ever having to say you're sorry.
We have to pause there, because that line, it's everything. It's beautiful in a way. Unconditional acceptance, radical forgiveness. She wipes the slate clean before he can even express regret.
It eliminates his guilt, his shame in that moment, but it also sets an impossible standard, doesn't it? It becomes a kind of emotional trap later on.
How so?
Because if love means never having to say sorry, it implies you never do anything that requires an apology. Or if you do, it's instantly forgiven, erased. It prevents Oliver from showing weakness, admitting fault, expressing regret to her.
So when things get really bad, he can't lean on her in that way. He can't apologize for not being able to fix things.
Exactly. He has to maintain the strength, the facade, because admitting fault or failure would break their code. It makes the burden he's about to carry, hiding her illness, dealing with the grief, almost unbearable because he's denied that emotional release with her.
Wow. Okay. So the turn towards tragedy begins innocently enough. They want kids.
They try. It doesn't happen. They go see a doctor. Standard stuff. But the diagnosis, it's anything but standard. Leukemia.
And the doctor tells Oliver privately, prognosis is grim. She's dying.
Oliver's reaction is pure denial and shock. He insists they can adopt. He can't process it. She's only 24. The injustice, the obscenity of it.
And then the doctor asks him to carry this impossible secret, to pretend everything is fine. Tell Jenny they're both all right, act normal.
He becomes the sole keeper of this devastating truth, trapped by the need to protect her, maybe, but also trapped by their no apologies, no vulnerability code. He has to perform normalcy.
His internal life becomes this desperate prayer, doesn't it? Not religious, really, but just hoping each morning she's still there, giving him a reason to say thank you. He starts pulling back from work, turns down that big case in Chicago.
He needs to be near her, trying to savor the time, maintain the illusion. He makes that grand gesture, the first-class tickets to Paris, trying to buy back the dream she sacrificed for him.
Using his hard-earned money to fix the unfixable. A very Barrett-like move, in a way, even though the motive is pure love.
But Jenny, she's way ahead of him. She confronted the specialist herself, a total Yaley, she notes, with that characteristic wit even now. She knows.
And she rejects the Paris trip. Gently, but firmly. That's not the way we're going to do it. She doesn't want grand gestures or bought experiences.
She wants him. And she wants time, that's all. She even apologizes to him, sorry that he has to go through this. Her focus is still on his pain.
It's heartbreaking. The inevitable arrives when she has to go to the hospital. Oliver knows this is it. This is goodbye.
And then another harsh reality hits. They don't have medical insurance. They were too busy buying dishes, focusing on building their little life, their home, never thinking about disaster.
Such a small, devastating detail. And Oliver, desperate, reverts to command mode, demanding the best care. Private rooms, special nurses, everything. Please, I've got the money.
Except he doesn't have the cash. Not $5,000 up front. The ultimate irony. He fought so hard for independence, rejected the Barrett millions, and now, to give Jenny the care she needs in her final days, he has to go back.
Back to the source. Back to OB III. That drive from New York to Boston. It sounds brutal. 3 hours, 20 minutes, pushing the limits. A race against time, against fate.
It's the prodigal son returning, not for forgiveness, but for funds. He walks into his father's office, notices OB III looks older, grayer.
And he just asked for it. $5,000. For a good reason.
Yeah.
Refuses to say why. He can't risk the lecture, the judgment, the emotional strings.
OB III hesitates, tries to talk. Oliver realizes his father stalled simply because he wanted to connect, just wanted a moment.
But Oliver denies him even that. He throws out the lie. The perfect, calculated lie to get the money without revealing his vulnerability.
I got some girl in trouble.
Why that lie?
Because it fits the narrative OB III probably already has of him, the irresponsible rich kid. It's a sin his father can understand, maybe even expect. It allows Oliver to maintain emotional distance, even superiority, while asking for help. He doesn't have to expose the raw, devastating truth about Jenny.
He gets the check. OB III writes it, maybe seeing through the lie, maybe just seeing the desperation. And Oliver's final words.
No connection, no reconciliation, just a cold, functional, thank you, father, and he's gone. Money in hand, but the chasm remains.
The final scenes are just quiet devastation. Phil arrives at the apartment, coping by cleaning obsessively, holding on to the impossible hope she'll come back.
Jenny says her goodbyes, first to Phil, affirming their love, then to Oliver. Her last request is practical, almost, for him. Stop blaming himself. Don't think he stole Paris or her music. She needs him to be okay after she's gone.
She needs him to forgive himself.
Yeah.
And then the very end.
She asks him to hold her, very tight, careful of the tubes. And her last words, simple, affectionate. Thanks, Ollie.
Just thanks.
Then silence. And moments later, the final piece of the puzzle arrives. Oliver Barrett III. Standing in the hospital lobby. He drove all night. As soon as I found out, I jumped into the car.
The control is gone. The formality? He's just a father trying to reach his grieving son.
Oliver is numb, coatless in the cold, and he throws Jenny's code back at his father. Maybe as a shield, maybe accusation.
Love means not ever having to say you're sorry.
Trying to keep his father out, maybe, trying to hold on to that last piece of Jenny. But the weight of it all, the scrounging, the secret, the loss, the impossible code, it finally breaks him.
Right there, in front of his father. For the first time ever.
He cries, the dam breaks, and in that shared grief, that raw, unexpected vulnerability maybe that's the first real connection they've ever had, achieved only at the absolute lowest point.
So looking back at this whole journey, the sources really paint a picture of intense rebellion, right? Fighting against class, against family expectations.
Absolutely, and a love that was powerful enough to bridge those massive divides, at least for a while. But Oliver's hard-won financial independence, it came at a cost, didn't it? It severed him from his roots, maybe, and made him totally emotionally reliant on Jenny.
Which made her loss just exponentially more devastating for him. He had nowhere else to turn emotionally.
And think about those two pivotal sorry moments. The one Jenny stopped him from saying after their fight, that moment of absolute forgiveness defined by their code.
Compared to the apology he had to make to his father. Not a real apology, but an apology of need. Begging for money, hidden behind that awful lie about getting a girl in trouble.
He rejected his father's world, achieved independence, but in the end, he needed the system. He needed the Barrett name on that check to care for Jenny. He couldn't escape belonging entirely.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is about this tension. Oliver Barrett V fought so hard to be his own man, free from his name, his legacy. He wanted self-reliance, authenticity.
But when faced with the deepest human vulnerability, loving someone and facing their loss, he had to return, however briefly, however transactionally, to the very system he despised. So was the price of his fiercely guarded independence always going to be inevitably the loss of connection, or the painful realization that connection in some form is inescapable?
Something to think about. That delicate, maybe impossible balance between standing alone and needing to belong.